The hammer effect is the best pro performance bowling ball that nobody saw coming. Hey team, and welcome back to the channel. Thanks for joining me. Once again, my name is Brian, core design engineer with Brunswick Bowling, and I'm very excited for the video that I have for you guys today because we get to talk about the hammer effect, a ball that is brand new inside and out with brand new core technology, a brand new cover stock additive package, and it is, I am not exaggerating when I say, possibly the best performance ball that Hammer has built to date. And I know that's a really tall order, that's really high praise for a bowling ball, and that's very subjective, but I'm gonna lay out the details about why I think that is truly the case in this video right here. But before I do that, I wanna do a little housekeeping. I have a video series for the Deviate Troublemaker, the first core designed specifically for no-thumb bowlers in mind. The third video in that series is the one I want to draw your attention to. I'm going to link it right up here. This video is going to show you how to lay out balls for all no-thumb layouts, not just the Troublemaker dualistic core, but this little system that we have built for the Troublemaker also works really well for any asymmetrical ball, any symmetrical ball. There's tips for how to modify it to work for asymmetrical balls right at the end of the video series. So if you are a two-handed bowler, a no-thumb bowler, or if you're a proshop operator who caters to these bowlers, which by now all proshop operators do, then you're going to want to check out this series. To me, this layout system is the easiest and most effective way to dial in the motion performance with the layout for any no-thumb layout that there is available on the market today. Make sure you check that out. And as a fan of the channel, I want to point out the fact that I do make playlists for all the different brands that are right there on my homepage. So as a Hammer fan, make sure you go check out the Hammer playlist that has all of the most recent core designs updated in that playlist. Now we get to the fun part. This is the core of it, so I'm going to start with the core of this brand new effect, and it is called the Huntsman core. It's called the Huntsman core because, like its predecessor, the Black Widow, this is an absolute hunter, and it is a bigger, stronger version of a Black Widow core. But there's more to it than that. It has an ultra-low RG at 247, it has a high total differential of 050, and an intermediate differential of 017. Now those numbers are going to be familiar because they kind of play in the range of the Black Widow series of numbers, but there are some subtle differences in both the shape and the core numbers, and I'm going to dive into all that, starting with the core shape. So taking a look around this core, there's a lot going on. We're going to start here with the general core body. This is a massive core. The core volume is very high, which helps with the low RG. It also is hourglass shaped. It concentrates mass above and below the center of mass of the core, and this is going to look very familiar to you. This looks a little bit like a beefed up Vibe core, and that is for good reason. We're combining multiple features into one core, and the Vibe core is a strong inspiration for the shape of this new Huntsman core. Outside of the hourglass shape, you'll notice that there are nodes sticking out of four corners of this core. The lower nodes are spheres. These spherical nodes are centered in the same areas that the gas mask core is centered, so that we have the same asymmetry built into the same parts of the core as the gas mask core. So you get that same kind of strong mid-lane motion that you do out of the gas mask core, out of this Huntsman core as well, because of the mass location. But we've also built a little more asymmetry into this core than there is in the gas mask core, and that is found in these upper nodes, these kind of dog ear wings that we've built. You'll notice some similarity to the spires that were built into the Envy series of cores with the Envy and the Extreme Envy. We're concentrating mass once again above the center of mass and out at the wings to contribute to the asymmetry of this core. These nodes typically aren't drilled into, so you maintain asymmetry after drilling no matter how you lay this core out. One other feature that you'll notice in this core is the radial disc at the bottom. This radial disc is the exact same puck disc that we have in the Widow series. This is actually on the same axis, the pin axis of the ball, but because this is a dot core, you'll notice that the puck is on the bottom. This is going to give you the same level of differential after drilling, but the difference is that because it's on the bottom, it's not in the area of the fingers when you drill into it. It's on the bottom so that the mass is maintained after drilling, which means the differential that this puck is adding is maintained after drilling as well. In other words, you're not going to drill this puck out, you're not going to lose any of the mass or any of the differential that this puck is adding because it's out of the drillable area of the ball. So all of these features come together to give you a fast revving core with its 2.70 RG, a fairly high flaring asymmetrical ball at 0.50 total differential. That's going to mean plenty of flare potential for plenty of change of direction in the mid lane and at the back of the lane. And an 0.17 intermediate differential is just a little higher than that Black Widow series to give you just a smaller hook window and just a sharper change of direction when the ball encounters friction at the back of the lane. So that's it for the core's contribution of motion. Of course, like all hammer products, this one has carbon fiber in the outer for the hardest hitting power at the pins, and it's surrounded by, drumroll please, the HK22 Cohesion cover stock. Have you heard the name Cohesion before? No, you have not, because this is a brand new additive that we're putting in the HK22 base, and we are so proud to present this to you. This ball is actually a stunner. It's our first 4-color ball. You'll notice that it's got black, blue, maroon, and purple. So 4-color ball just to add to the effect of the hammer effect. But the real star of the show is this brand new Cohesion additive. Now you've heard us talk about HK22 until we're blue in the face, but you'll notice, especially if you're a fan of the brands of Brunswick and Hammer in particular, that we've chipped away making performance enhancements to this HK22 base, and of course with the different additive packages and various additives that we're able to put into these packages, just because it has the HK22 base does not mean it's the same chemical composition, does not mean that it's the same motion shape or the same reaction on the lane. We've got a varied degree of responsiveness, sweepingness, sharpness at the back of the lane, and the cherry on top, at least in this very moment, is this brand new Cohesion additive, because it's bringing together the strengths from everything we've learned with the HK22 base, and it's coming together with a brand new additive package. We weren't just sitting on our hands because we developed the HK22, and we certainly weren't just mixing and matching all of our old chemical bases and additive packages to come up with something new. We were still cooking in the kitchen, and we're still coming up with brand new products, and this Cohesion additive gives you more mid-length strength and more back-end board coverage than any hammer ball to date. I'm not going to say it's the sharpest ball because it does kind of glue in the mid lane and give you a sweeping, hard, arcing back-end motion, but in terms of total boards covered from the mid lane to the pins, I'm not going out on a limb by saying this is the strongest back-ending hammer ball. Sharpest, that's debatable, that's kind of in the eye of the beholder, but certainly I'm going to say that this ball will cover more boards at the back of the lane than any ball in the hammer lineup, probably any ball on the market at this current time frame, unless you're counting balls that start super early and the mid lane starts at 30 feet and covers boards that way. But in terms of back end motion, this is the one. There's nothing more to say about it. So who's going to use this one, and do you need that much hook? I mean, it's great, but what's the point here, right? Well, it goes without saying that anytime you can get in left of your opponent and open up the lane and still have recovery and forgiveness, those are all good qualities to scoreability. So this one can handle oil despite the fact that it's a compounded finish, but it also finishes even though you're swinging it so much. Has no problem getting through the pins. This is an amazing core cover combination. So you can use this on fresh oil despite the fact that it has a shiny surface. You certainly could scuff it to give it a little more mid-lane security, but I don't think it needs it. For the medium conditions, especially the house shots that you see around that have a puddle in the middle, you need a little extra cohesion, pun intended, in the middle of the lane, a little extra stick in the mid lane before you see the ball make an angular back-end motion, and that's exactly what this one's designed to do. This one is designed for back-end motion with still giving you a lot of trust that it's going to see the mid lane and it's not going to squirt or skip when you dig into the lane. With these current house shot conditions, with a lot of friction to the right or a lot of friction to the outside, I shouldn't exclude our lefties, and a puddle in the middle, this one is going to be perfect because you can get in far enough left that you can get the natural push from the fresh head oil, and then as soon as it sees the friction, it's going to ricochet. And it's going to rebound in a way that is strong, stout, but still predictable. I alluded to it earlier, but I don't think this is necessarily the flippiest cover or flippiest core cover combination that you've ever seen, especially with the fast revving 247 RG, but boy does this one go. And that's what we're looking for in terms of entry angle, in terms of carry percentage, is for a ball to get sharp off the spot, but still give you a level of trust that it's going to recover. So high rev players are going to be able to use this as a number 2 ball on the longest, slickest, heaviest oil conditions, a ball down from the Extreme Envy. Even though it's a ball down, just because of the length and shape change of direction, I think it probably covers more boards than the Extreme Envy just because it's so much cleaner and so much more responsive of an additive package. That Extreme Envy is going to dig early, give you a really early, strong mid lane with a blendy back end motion, and this one's a little bit the opposite. Even though it's fast revving, it's going to give you a lot of additional push through the fronts with a swift change of direction at the back of the lane. So as soon as a little mid lane friction develops on those longer, heavier patterns, the high rev players are going to have a blast. They're going to be able to open up the more medium patterns with ease. This could be a number 1 ball if you want to dig into the pattern right away, or as transition hits and you want to get left of everyone, easy choice, hammer effect, hands down. If you're a high rev player, you're going to be able to dig into the pattern as soon as mid lane friction develops on medium patterns, and you're going to be able to score from left. If you're a tweener, you're going to love the forgiveness that this one gives you as a sharp motion. This one's going to be toward the top of your bag, but I still see it as a transition piece. It's going to be clean, and you're going to use it in the same way that the high rev players are using it on medium conditions. You're going to be able to wait for the mid lane friction to develop a little bit, and then you're going to step in and you're going to feel like a power player as a tweener in this hammer effect. And the low rev players, this is a beautiful step down from all of the big diggy balls that you're kind of handcuffed to. As a low rev player or a higher speed player who doesn't have the rev rate to quite match their speed, you guys are kind of shut out of using too much clean and angular equipment, and this is going to be a ball that you're going to love. When the other players, the tweeners and the high rev players, are in their weaker, cleaner, symmetrical pieces and you feel a little left out of that game, this is going to be an excellent ball to reach for, to feel like you can still kind of dig in and swing it a little bit and not worry about this ball getting too long off the end of the pattern or just not having quite enough kick or recovery at the back of the lane. So this one's going to be really good for you for more medium conditions and the lighter conditions when you want to dig in and feel like you can give it a little more shape than you ever can. Those early diggy balls that you're used to using to help hook don't necessarily always back end the strongest. So this one's going to bridge that gap between those balls that dig and hook for you but don't necessarily back end, and those cleaner balls that you really like the shape of but you can't use unless you're on a lot of friction. This one's going to, like I said, bridge that gap, and you're going to be able to use it earlier than those cleaner, sharper balls and still give you that cleaner, sharper motion. So who can use it and who should have a hammer effect? Short answer, everyone. That's all the information I can give you on this new hammer effect. You'll probably notice by now that all of our influencers on YouTube and around the internet have their hands on this one. They are going to be producing a lot of content so that you can definitely get an eye for the ball motion. And I've already seen a couple clips from a few of the web reviewers before it even came out as they were filming the ball. They were impressed enough to send me clips and just caption them like, wow, this is crazy, this is the most back end I've ever had, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, you can see for yourself. Of course, as with any piece, not everyone's gonna love it, but I think you'll be hard pressed to find someone who can't find some level of usability of this ball in their bag. I mean, we're that high on this product, and I hope that you are as excited as we are. They're available in pro shops in a few short weeks. Coming up March 22nd, make sure to swing into your local pro shop and grab one. While you're here, make sure you like and subscribe to my YouTube and Facebook pages, Bowling Buckosh, because I make new videos every time we make a new core for the brands of Brunswick, and I walk around that core and I explain it to you. If you have any questions about the hammer effect, any of the current balls in the hammer arsenal, or how they would fit into your personal arsenals, feel free to drop a comment and I'll respond as soon as I can. Until next time, thanks for watching.